So we've got a sport on director now, and we're coming up to international break, and we're coming up to Christmas in January, and already we've got 2 names being linked by pretty reliable sources. I'd say that it's the regular, Liverpool journalists, so it's the Barrett and the Pierces and the Hunters, etc. are linking us with 2 players. First of all, it's Christian Pulisic again, which makes sense. They couldn't get him in the summer, so and he's clearly our target who they really like, so they might go back in for him, whether it be January or the summer. And the second one, and I hope I'm getting his name right, is Sardar Azmoun. I think that's how you say it. I'm going to guess that's right. Azmoun?
We don't have a clue.
Again, we're not going to sit here and tell you...
I've him until half an hour ago, so I'm happy to go with that.
We're not going to sit here and say we know all about this lad. And he's an Iranian, 21-year-old Iranian striker, basically. And
Wikipedia, then.
I must admit, I saw him score a goal live, I was saying this last week, on BT Goal Show, but I wouldn't have had a clue who he was. I just knew he was some lad playing for a team who Atletico should be beaten.
So you guess he scored against Atletico,
and because I had both teams to score on my bet, no. So he cost me money. I remember that. Because I had Atleti to keep a clean sheet because they're playing Russian...
How much were you on Thursday?
God knows, mate. I mean, everyone cocked me up anyway, so don't worry about it. I think I had Real Madrid to keep a clean sheet and they let like 6 in or something. So, But also I think that, again, we're not going to go into the specifics of these 2 players because Pulisic has been done to death and we don't know that much about the other guy. But what's interesting is that the manager has pretty much admitted, or it looks like Liverpool have admitted somewhere to someone, that they are in the market for at least one forward in the summer. Mainly because the Ings injury. I think they knew that Mane was going and they thought he could cope, and the Ings injuries kind of threw a spanner in the work. So, but it looks like there's 2 names there, and one's a striker and one's a winger. Just again, this is a complete what's the word? You're not going to know that much about it, but do you think we're after 2, or do you think it's a case of either or? If you had to guess,
I'd say either or. Own opinion. I don't think there's room in the squad for 2 to come in, especially once we've got Mane back from the African nations, and even when Danny Ings will ever fit again, there's no room for it. It doesn't make sense to go and spend money on both of them. Maybe spend money on one and one on loan if you're going to get both. But for me, I think it's one or the other. And the way Pulisic has started the season, I don't see any way in which we get him in January for less than 25, 30 million. So my guess is the kid I've never heard of.
But again, I've seen him score a goal, but that's about it. But John, it's interesting, and I'll move on to this point now, but it says that there's going to be cover for Mane or Ings, which is fine, I understand that, it makes perfect sense. But if we're going to buy these lads, it isn't just because we want them January to May. There's a plan to keep them. Does that mean that maybe in the summer someone's going, and there's a massive Daniel Sturridge-shaped elephant in the room where I think we'd all agree we love Dan Sturridge and we can all see a place in the squad. And he can work under Klopp, he can, because we've seen it. It just doesn't work as well as Roberto Firmino does, for example, but Sturridge does work. But if we sign a striker and Danny Ings isn't fit still, so we can't really sell him, it's worth at least asking. Like, someone might have to go, and if you had to put your money on it now, you'd probably put it on Daniel Sturridge.
It's just the thing that happened, mate. I mean, like, I don't think the Sturridge thing, like, it's a weird situation because I don't think anyone as a fan of the club feels any ill will towards him, in the sense of, like, you know, everyone can see he's talented, you know what I mean? Everyone knows he works, but it's like when we got Rodgers and we had Carroll, he just didn't fit the system. When we got Benteke and Klopp came in, he just didn't fit the system. You know what I mean? I just think, like, he's been brilliant for us and he's been great in so many other ways, forgetting the injuries, but maybe that's the thing. Maybe we're going to get to the end of the season. He's fit. He stayed fit for 12 months. So those kind of injury concerns can be put by the wayside. But maybe Klopp's building towards that and thinking, right, I want a mobile forward, and you're not really offering me that. You're offering me goals definitely, but not that. So I don't know. I mean, again, I've not heard of this Azmoun lad, but obviously most of us have heard of Pulisic. I think if we got him in, I think that'd be a permanent deal. And yeah, I agree with you. The Sturridge thing, that's probably him out the door kind of thing. The other lad I'm not sure of, because if you're going to get a lad in who's maybe just a set of legs on the pitch kind of thing while we're short up front for a few weeks, why not give Shea Ojo a chance? You know what I mean? Like, the Pulisic thing, I understand it in a sense of,
he's a quality player.
He's a quality player, and you get him in now, this time next year, 2-3 years down the line, he's your starting guy. You know, he's not the young kid. The other lad, like I say, I don't know enough about him to be full on it, but
So he's 6'1" and he's in the mould of Zlatan Ibrahimovic up front, which
he was called the Iranian Messi on some.
It said according to British sources, because apparently everyone's a something Messi if they're half decent from another country. But like seeing him 6'1", apparently he's quick, holds the ball up and stuff like that. Don't see any much difference to the sound of Origi, and I don't see how that would work. In my mind, I know like he likes tall forwards in the way that. At Dortmund, he had Aubameyang and stuff, and he was a big forward in a way, but he's lightning quick, and you never associate him with kind of like a Zlatan kind of thing.
It's the culture thing, isn't it? I mean, he got Culture in for 6 months. I think he played 2 games, and he went up front even though he was a centre half.
But that was a loan.
It could be a short thing.
But the talk for this lad is it's not a loan. It's that they want to buy him.
He's 21, isn't he?
And they want to buy him. That's what I'm saying. If it was saying Liverpool are looking at...
What's that mean for Origi, though?
My thinking, and again, I might be completely wrong reading this, if it happened and we did sign another striker, would be Firmino's first choice, Origi's second choice.
But the thing about
and then
that,
this guy and Danny Ings are third and fourth choice in my head, because...
But Origi doesn't get on ahead of Sturridge.
No. Yeah, but he doesn't now. But he doesn't now.
Why? Do you know what I mean? Because if Klopp's not the type of guy who'd be scared to make that decision, if he sees Sturridge as not going to be here at the end of the season, why are you wasting time with him and not putting Origi on? Because we saw at the Tottenham game what Origi does. You know what, he works so hard, and he is lightning quick sometimes. Yeah,
I think
so. There's something going on there, and I think they're trying to figure it all out. To be honest,
I don't know. I'll come to you. I think he sees, if he's ever going to play 2 up front, he sees it as Origi and Sturridge, and then if he's ever going to go 1 up front at the moment, he sees it as Firmino. The other option, sorry mate to interrupt you, is it could be a case that he just doesn't fancy Danny Ings. And these injuries are distracting from the fact that, and again, it might be a bit cold to say, he never picked them anyway. And Danny wasn't, again, he was coming back from injury, I understand, blah, 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 but he wasn't even making the bench. And then he comes on for, 15 minutes against Tottenham, and unfortunately, he re-injures himself, which is really harsh. But it could be a case that he just doesn't think Danny Ings is very good. And this lad's coming in as Liverpool's 4th choice, and he does want Firmino, Origi and Sturridge to stay, and then he wants cover for, touchwood, Champions League football next year. This lad could be a 4th choice in your League Cups and your FA Cups, blah, blah, blah. It could be that, again, he might just not want Ings.
I don't think he does fancy Ings, to be honest, and as horrible as the injury is, and as horrible as this probably is to say, I'm glad out of our forward options it was Ings. If someone had to pick up that injury, because I've said up to now we've been pretty lucky with injuries and we're playing well, so if the injuries did creep in, how would we react? And as horrible as it to say, I'm glad it was Ings. Not someone who's important to the squad, who's going to, because as you say, he's been back from injury for 2 months maybe. He's been banging them in left, right and centre at under 23 level, and he hasn't even gotten a sniff at the bench competitively, apart from the Spurs game in the League Cup. So I don't think he is someone who was ever going to come massively into the reckoning with Klopp. So maybe this guy is someone who's going to come in as, touchwood again, Champions League cover, League Cup games, FA Cup games, because I didn't see Ings with us beyond the summer anyway, whether he stayed fit or not.
What do you think?
I think it's hard because you saw how long Klopp took over Sturridge first of all, when Sturridge was getting back fit, and everyone was all these rumours about, oh, he's not playing him, he doesn't want him, and he was like, it's just because I want him to be 100% fit, and he didn't have it. You've seen that he was right to not rush Ings, because Ings went into a competitive match and injured himself. So I'd like to think that Klopp isn't the type of manager to lie, because he said he will come back as a Liverpool player, and there's no reason for him to say that line if he's just like, we wish Danny the best recovery, because it's just false hope to Danny Ings to like fight for this, and he's been through it before, and get the backing of the squad to go, yeah, you're fit out the door, you've just worked really hard with us to try and get fit again. I'd like to think that he thinks a bit better of Ings than that, and also he's going to be, when he comes back, he'll be 25, won't he? Yeah. He won't have worked under Klopp, but I kind of feel like Ings is the type of player who, he's hard working, but you'd be happy to fill that Joe Allen role, as in Joe Allen was a squad player on the bench, and he'd come on, and he'd always come on, and he'd always try hard, and he'd never moan. And sometimes you need to have those people in your squads that stay there.
Kev Stewart's one, isn't he?
Yeah, Kev Stewart's one, and I don't think if Origi's not playing in a year or two time, and he's in the same position, he can go, because he's the type of player who could be starting for the Netherlands if he's banging in goals for Belgium.
Do well to get a game for Holland.
Yeah, if he's banging in goals for Belgium, I'm glad this isn't going on YouTube, to be fair.
It is.
Is this one
Yeah,
all of it?
Right now, people
Right now.
Live.
Oh,
But anyway,
fucked it.
comments
it.
below, call Sam and Ming for no, but I suppose,
But yeah,
I get your
you
point.
know,
Your point is
He'll be
basically,
happy to be there.
Ings would be happy to be a backup, where
Yeah.
Divock Origi at some stage is going to want to play football.
We
all
made
get-
mistakes.
we all
I'm just
get-
sad. I'm just sad.
We
You
all
know
get
what I
Belgium,
mean? I felt
Belgium and
better
Holland, they're
myself.
next to each other, they're close. They're in
They're all in
Europe.
Europe, aren't they? You know what I mean?
I mean, they're nothing to do with us anymore because we voted out. So they're over there now, forget them.
Yeah.
Oz, again, I don't mean to skew negative, but it's not usually my disposition to do so, but I am going to do so. Is Pulisic Coutinho insurance? Because...
Why go there?
Well,
And why with me?
Well, I think when you hear rumours of the Zidans of the world and there's talks of Barcelona's and PSG's, again Liverpool will hope to keep him, and you do, but you have to have some type of backup plan. And I don't know, in my head maybe, because at the moment Pulisic wouldn't get a game for Liverpool. He wouldn't be first choice. There's a reason. Again, I hope it's wrong, but a little nagging part of the back of your head is thinking, is he the insurance of it if Coutinho, even when Coutinho might leave?
It definitely makes sense because Coutinho's been borderline world class for 2 to 3 years, and this season already he seems to have took it there now. He's made that step, and your Barcelona, your Real Madrid's, Bayern Munich, they're going to be looking, they're going to be talking, and
Fuck him now.
that wanker Balagate's already talking in the press that the way he's not flamboyant enough for Real Madrid, he's not glamour enough, but he's technical enough for Barcelona, and Barcelona now, they're already weighing up as to whether he fits into their system and their philosophy and stuff, so the talk's already there, and
PSG's another talk.
12 to 18 months, the bid's going to come. Whether we like it or not, it's going to come, and that's where we need to test our resolve, and I think that's why, I'm not going to say the line, but we need to do something special in the next 12 to 18 months to convince these lads to stay and to convince the better lads to come, but I definitely get what you're saying, and within 12 months he could be on his way.
You'd hope not, John, but again, if it is going to happen, we saw when we let Luis Suarez leave and stuff, we had nothing. There was nothing behind them at all. We had to go and buy. We bought poorly. We just that's the bottom line of it. Obviously, we had Daniel Sturridge, but at that stage he was severely injured all the time. Whatever was going wrong there, and then we bought Ricky Lambert and we spent money on Markovic and stuff. We had no. Suarez is gone. Oh, now what? And it was with Pulisic, it could be a case of we're not saying that I advocate on Coutinho because I don't, and we never should if we can afford not to and stuff. But if you have to let him go for some clauses or we don't know the contract situations, it's better to have a quality player in your squad now who's been there for, like I says, 6, 12, 18 months, just in case if something bad does go and you have to go.
Yeah, these things happen, mate. I mean, obviously, the Suarez thing we wanted was Sanchez. He turns around and goes, actually, nah, I'm going to Arsenal in a bit, lads. And you just think, like, well, that's our transfer plans up the wall, and it was fucking panic station. Balotelli, you know, where did that come from? You know, he's not signing, but it makes sense to get these things in early and get them done. And, you know, no one wants to see it happen. No one wants to see Coutinho leave, considering how good he's been for the club. But these things can happen. He might just put his foot down and just go, listen, I'm not signing a new deal, so you need to sell me for money. It happened at Dortmund, you know, with a lot of their players. Sell me for money or I'll go on a free. But there's no harm having these lads in the squad. I think, you know, at the end of the day, like, you can never have too many good players, as far as I'm concerned. Chelsea, you know, have 50 kids out on loan who are all the next big thing, end up selling after them. You know, De Bruyne's at City, turning it up, Lukaku's at Everton, being brilliant. You know, get them in the squad and make them part of your setup, and some of them will work out, or at least you'll get your money back on them. Mm-hmm. But the only thing I think on it maybe is whether he's one for the future, because, you know, you look at Grujic come in. I know obviously he didn't come in maybe as a hot prospect, whereas Pulisic is. But he's not really featured much for us this season. I thought he'd actually play a bigger role. I thought we saw him in pre-season, whether, you know, he'd be more in the team, especially in the League Cup and stuff. And he's actually been kind of, you know, quietly in the background, just getting in games, like coming on for 5-10 minutes. So maybe Pulisic is that. Maybe he comes, maybe he doesn't get a game, and like you say, the Coutinho thing, 18 months down the line, you know, maybe he's lined up as that next kid, so when he steps in, he's now 23, whatever, and he's there or thereabouts, and he will be in year 11, but I don't know.
Hopefully, Simon, the positive skew on it is, again, Champions League football, and hopefully Champions League football next year. Sadio Mane can't play every game, and he's at the minute, Shea Ojo's the young winger, but we don't really have another winger. This lad in theory could rotate in and out with Mane, or, you know, Mane picks up a knock at Burnley and we look a different team when he doesn't play. it could just be that Klopp just thinks that that's the one area of the squad where he's just short of players.
Well, we've always done this thing, haven't we, in recent years, where we've played people who aren't quite wingers as wingers, and it's not worked out. And I know that you can say that Mane's not quite a winger, but I'm sorry, like, he is. He pushes the ball past people, he sprints on it, he's quick, he knows how to put a ball in like when he needs to. Obviously, he's a forward in general, but you look at Adam Lallana and he's not that. You know, he fits in this kind of free-flowing like style. Ojo, even when he came on, some of the crosses he was putting in and stuff, you can see he's in that mould. If I was going to say we were going to make one transfer, and if people ask me, it would be for a winger. Now, I know that people are calling for left-back. I'd like a left-back cover, but I think with Moreno and Milner, if we were just going to...
You can get by with that for now.
Do you know what I mean? You can get by with that for now. Don't disrupt anything else. It would be a winger, because I feel like in our kind of setup, if you've got people who can go wide and can run with the ball, it's just so much. It brings a whole different dynamism to the team. He did it against Arsenal, didn't he? When he just picked the ball up from the right and just like got straight in. And we haven't had that.
Well, it basically brings pace to a forward line that is quite slow. If you think about if Origi isn't on the pitch, our forward line, whatever all the three are playing, is going to be slow. So maybe Klopp has just thought, you know, again, future planning. If we're without Mane for a while, I need someone else, and hopefully that's the case. And we'll see if Pulisic is the answer. I imagine it'd be difficult to get him in January anyway. Really difficult, the way Dortmund are doing in the summer. Who knows? But whatever happens, it's going to cost a lot of money. Right, everyone, that was our chat on 2 potential signings that Liverpool could make in January on the two lads whose name I'm not going to try and pronounce now. It was Pulisic and... Someone help me out. Azmoun. We'll go with Azmoun. If that's wrong, let me know in the comments below. Yeah, hopefully I was wrong on the Coutinho bit. Hopefully I was right on everything else, the good bits. But that was just part of our top of the league Reds News Roundup show. If you think that you'd like to watch the whole show, it's available to all Redmen TV subscribers on the website, on the redmentv.com. It's £2 a month. If you click here now, you'll be able to go along to the website and have a look. It's free for the first month, so if you go along and sign up, you can see all the shows, whether it be the weekend briefing, our news roundup show, the final word shows. Just check it all out. If you like it, I say £2 a month. It's not the end of the world. Speaking of the end of the world, I mean, you might as well spend your money now. Just saying. And I'll be back next week, so see you later. Ta-da.